has put the third game down. Much now moving forward with that shuttle. He might very well even have reavers in it. Remember, he didn't put the observatory down first. He put the robotics support bay down. But the disadvantage is that he doesn't have observers. He's going to have to wait for those observers to arrive. So he's not going to have that line of sight advantage that B2 does have. And much as going to try and circle and get a flanking position on B2's forces on top of that ramp. Probe now coming in from B2. Much meanwhile has managed to take that ramp with the reaver. He did have that reaver and shuttle loaded up earlier. And B2 being forced to retreat. So B2 is going to be in a little bit of trouble now because Much has taken his natural expo and B2 is going to struggle to defend his natural expo. And now there's the big fight of the choke. B2 dropping reaver, Much with the reaver as well. Looks like B2 timed his attack perfectly because he sent Much chasing, Much retreating to the higher ground. We'll see if he tries to hold that. But for a second, it looks like he would have the advantage of his natural expo while denying Bisu his. I cannot tell from looking at the minimap whether or not Bisu has started up his natural expo or not. Much's natural expo definitely on the build. I think from looking at the minimap, Bisu might be ready to start as well. Bisu once again moving. Much again had the advantage of the higher ground. Bisu dropping the Dragoons. Bisu does have a third gate, remember. I'm not sure if Much has one. Bisu taking a lot of damage. He lost a lot of Dragoons in the process and is really in trouble here. But he is managed to inflict some damage on Much as well. It looks like Bisu is finally going to be able to take this battle and take the ramp. And I'm not sure if Bisu lost, if Much lost his reaver there in that final shot. Bisu with the one reaver and the 3 Dragoons surviving. Much being forced to retreat with just a couple of Dragoons. He's got another reaver and a couple of Dragoons just north of his natural expo. That third gateway for Bisu really telling the difference in that fight because he had to take out Much's position, which was stronger. Perhaps if Much had the third gateway, he would have been in a better off position. But now Much has been forced to cancel his natural expo. Oh my god, Much clearly feeling that he was not going to be able to defend his position against Bisu's onslaught because he probably lost his shuttle, I think, in that attack. Retreated up behind his ramp, and Bisu now is in a really strong position. Now dropping the reaver up, gets a massive probe kill on Much, and this might just be the closing out of the OSL tiebreakers right there. Those 2 reaver shots are a nail, one in July and the other in Much's coffin to progress through to the OSL finals for Bisu. Bisu just delivering the sword to Much's chest and impaling him on it, and really he's cut his opponent open here with his startling play. And I think, to me personally, what made the difference was that scout. When Bisu had his probe circling in Much's base, along obviously with those minor pylons, Much did not have the skills for it, and now this is pretty much lockdown here for Much. He's locked into his base, trapped in a corner, and like the US financial market, there's nowhere for him to go. He's going to try and do some counter harass with this shuttle. Bisu's going to be well prepared for it, I feel. Much now has got most of his forces in his base. He doesn't have even a single reaver, but he feels that he can hold Bisu off against that ramp. Bisu isn't interested in assaulting Much's base. He's just interested in holding his economic advantage that he now has a significant one of, especially after Much was forced to cancel that Nexus. Disaster for Much there. Now coming with the shuttle, this is the last throw of the dice for Much. Bisu's got 4 Dragoons in the waiting for Much's shuttle. Much obviously didn't have an observer in there to try and get the scout and see exactly what that is, or if he has an observer, he isn't aware of Bisu's position. Bisu anticipating this kind of counter, obviously for him, it's the obvious move for Much to make, and really the only throw of the dice that Much can really cast here, and I feel it's going to come to nothing. Bisu with 3 Dragoons still in the waiting. He's taken 1 Dragoon out, obviously, to shore up his natural expo as well. Doesn't want to leave that entirely undefended. Much is going to be able to drop off here, but that shuttle straight away getting warded off. Reaver coming under massive damage, and Much doing no damage, and Much's attack just being shown to be so weak in comparison to the damage that Bisu delivered on him with his own drop. Much managing to rescue his reaver and his shuttle. He's now got another reaver out. He's going to try and use the advantage of the ramp to maybe try and fire a couple of shots off against Bisu's Dragoons. But Bisu's Dragoons well positioned, forcing Much to bring that reaver within strike range of the Dragoons down the ramp. Brilliant by Bisu! Much's reaver takes a reaver shot and 2 Dragoon hits. Excuse me, just barely survives. Brilliance by Bisu. Perfect positioning of his forces in such a place that Much would have to, and really that's just high caliber play from the Protoss ex-champion, and I think you have to give a lot of credit to Bisu, because Bisu has been the player, and Much trying to lure Bisu's units away from and try and come in with another attack approach from the shuttle, unsuccessful in doing so. He's not going to be bunching up his forces, but really this game is just slipped from Much's grasp, and July obviously is going to be despondent, sitting in the dressing room, hoping, having hoped to had another shot at getting through, is not going to have that against a Protoss opponent. His first loss to Bisu is going to prove to be decisive, as Bisu is going to close out this game against Much and take victory. Bisu now also taking the ramp just west of Much's natural expo, and Much's forces are going to be locked in there. He loses the shuttle, loses his Reaver. He's got a bunch of Zealots, but that's going to be taken out. Meanwhile, trying a two-pronged attack to try and push out from both directions. Bisu snuffs it out, and Much once again landlocked in his base. And really, I guess the only reason he hasn't GG'd is because he knows that he's not going to get a second chance here, that if he GG's, it's going to be all over. He does have a couple of Reavers out, but Bisu has consolidated his forces again, consolidated his position on the ramp. Much managing with the Reaver drop to get a kill, with the Reaver dropping on the ramp to get a kill on one of Bisu's Reavers. That's not going to bother Bisu too much, and Much still just desperately trying to just find some way out of his base where Bisu has him locked in, and Much now careening down the ramp. This is his last best hope for survival. I'm not sure if it's a great hope. Bisu with the two Reavers. Bisu has the surround on the Dragoons, even though Much has a slight advantage of firing from the ramp, but Much with nowhere to go, having the shuttle taken out and wiped out now by Bisu, and that's the end of his forces. He's continuing to fight on, he's continuing to struggle on. Bisu again with the Reavers is going to be able to force his way up that ramp forcefully. Whether or not Much likes it, he's going to have to allow Bisu's forces to penetrate his defenses, and Bisu now entering into Much's base, into Much's main. He's got the Dragoons and the Zealots and the Reavers, and is just going to close this game out comfortably, and that's going to be GG right there, folks. Bisu to progress through to the quarterfinals in the OSL. July paying perhaps for his arrogance, perhaps for his complacency. Much just not good enough. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening. What a great game of StarCraft that was. And Bisu deservedly powering home through and powering through with the win. And I'm excited to see the old Protoss champion return to some form and return to perhaps somewhere near the peak of his abilities just at the right time. Maybe like what July did last season. But July's hopes for a Diamond Mouse will have to be put on life support for now. He is, I'm afraid, out of the OSL. The reigning champion has been dethroned by Bisu nonetheless. This is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening.
굉장히 평범해 보이는 경기일지라도 이게 내면을 들여다보면 재미있는 두 선수의 심리가 깔려 있어요.
결국 김태경이 오늘 뭐 이겼으니까 당연히겠습니다만 저구전은 어떻게 해야 되는지, 동족전은 어떻게 되는지 머릿속에 정말 제대로 정리된 방법이요.
이렇게 김태경 선수가 8강에 진출하면서 오늘 경기력을 감안한다면은 8강에서의 어떤 그 횡보도 굉장히 밝아 보이거든요.
지금 김태경이 만날 선수들은 한 명의 테란, 박성균 또는 송병구, 도정 상대도 1등이거든요. 지금 이 분위기면 뭐가 겁나겠습니까, 김태경이요?
일단은 뭐 김태경 선수로서는 송병구나 도재욱이와 당연히 같은 팀이니까 실패했고요. 송병구 선수를 만나는 것보다는 박성균 선수 토스는 아주 강한 테란이긴 합니다만 그래도